Hey everyone, so this is our applications video, 4.1, 4.2, it's some word problems. And for this video, we're going to actually take notes in our binder. So pause the video, find page 123 in your chapter 4 of binder. And at the top, fill in the y equals mx plus b, the three forms that are already filled in at the top. So what we're going to do here is try a couple problems. These are actually part of your classwork, so by filling out these notes, you're actually completing some of your classwork here. And at the top of this page, it talks about how many real-world solutions can be, or situations can be modeled using linear equations. And in these charts here, we have some key words and some kind of key ways that we might see different forms of equations. And so slope-intercept form sometimes shows up. Usually we see a slope where we get the rate, and then a y-intercept, which usually talks about like a beginning amount, maybe a fee or a cost. Standard form, sometimes we'll write equations in standard form, and usually we'll use this if I give you two items and they have different prices. Things like that. And so x is usually how many of one item, and y is usually how many of the other. For point slope form, this is probably kind of rare for these, but it's usually when we're given like two different data points, but they're not the starting amount, and it doesn't really give you a slope necessarily. It might give you a slope, or it might give you a second data point. Okay, so we'll do an example like that as well. So we're just going to work through a few of these problems, try to do them quickly. So looking at number 1 here, we're going to write an equation and answer the follow-up questions. Becky joins Lifetime Fitness for an initiation fee of $150. The monthly membership fee is $75 per month. So one thing I'm doing is I'm looking for some keywords. Is there anything that represents like a rate? And that's per. So my $75 per month, that's going to be my slope. So I'm going to label that as the slope. It also talks about an initiation fee. That is like the beginning amount. How much do you pay at the start? So anytime you have something like that, that would be our y-intercept. So writing an equation here, I'm going to continue to use my line chart. And we're going to go point, slope, y-intercept. What do I know? I know the slope is $75 per month, and I know the y-intercept is 0, 150. So I have slope and y-intercept. That means I should write slope-intercept form. So we would say y equals 75x plus 150. All right. With these problems, we want to write down what do the variables mean, because x actually stands for something, y actually stands for something. So the total amount of money, that's what y stands for. Okay. We can tell because the initiation fee, the y-intercept, is a dollar amount. Also, the slope, it's dollars per month. So when you think of slope, y is on the top, x is on the bottom. So my y is going to be total money spent, and x is going to be whatever we're measuring time in, so time in months. Time in months, because it's $75 per month. Okay, cool. There's our equation, there's our variables. So now B, how much does it cost to be a member for 1 year? 1 year, we would plug in 12 months, and this is a time value, so that would be x. So I'm going to say x equals 12. So I go y equals 75 times 12 plus 150, and we'll have a calculator for this. So 75 times 12 is 900 plus 150 gives me a total of $1,050 spent in 1 year. Okay. Part C, Becky only has $2,000 to spend. How much or how many months can she belong to Lifetime? Well, this time $2,000, that's a y value. So I'm going to replace the y with 2,000. 2,000 equals 75x plus 150. And it says how many months? So x equals question mark. We don't know. We're trying to solve it. So I would subtract 150. we'd get 1850 equals 75x. And when we divide by 75, we get that x equals 24.66. So it's not a nice clean number. X is about 24.6 repeating. Well, that means she doesn't have enough to pay for a 25th month. So Becky can belong for 24 months. So how many months? 24 months. We would round down in this case. All right, let's go to the next page and try another problem. So now we're on page 124. We're not going to do 3. You'll do that on your own, but number 3, I just want to point out it's similar to what we just did, but we're spending $7,500. So think about what that means for your slope. The next one we're going to do is number 4. Oh, and there's 2 number 4s. So we're going to do the second number 4 about Mario. Mario is mountain climbing. After 2 hours, he finds Yoshi, and he is at a height of 200 feet. After 4 hours, they are at a height of 800 feet. Write an equation to model Mario's height in respect to the number of hours spent climbing. Okay, so in this case, I'm not given any slope. There's no there's no rate, but we're given some data points is what I would call them. So after 2 hours, height of 200 feet. So what we could do is write a point and say that we have 2, 200. Which means I could even start by saying my x is number of hours and y is feet climbed. Okay, so then my other point would be 4 hours. They're at a height of 800 feet. And if I make my line chart to write an equation, point, slope, y-intercept, well, neither of those is a y-intercept because they don't start with 0. We don't know what Mario's beginning height was, so we cross that off. So I do have 2 points, 2, 200 and 4, 800. So I need to find the slope. I have the points, I need a slope. So we'll go to m equals, and we'll calculate our slope. y2 minus y1, 800 minus 200, over x2 minus x1, 4 minus 2, would be 600 over 2, which is 300. So now my slope is 300. All right, I have a slope and I have points, so I could write this equation using either of those points. So I would write y minus y1. So let's do the first point, 2, 200. So y minus 200, using this point, equals m, 300, times x minus x1 would be 2. Right, and we can leave it here. That's our point slope form equation. One thing we might want to think about is what are the units for slope? It's y per x, so feet per hour. That's what the slope is. Maybe we wanted to find out what is the initial height. What did Mario start at 0? At the bottom of the mountain, or was it somewhere else? Okay, or maybe he got to 200 feet quicker, or slower. Once he got Yoshi, then it took longer. So what we could do is distribute this out and do y minus 200 equals 300 x minus 600, and then we would add 200 to both sides, and we get y equals 300x minus 400. So what that means is either at the beginning he was 400 feet below sea level, which is possible. Maybe Mario was down in a big valley, or he climbed at a different rate before he got to Yoshi, and now from 2 to 4 that measures his rate with Yoshi. All right, one more problem. We're going to do the problem at the bottom of the page, which is number 6. For a school band fundraiser, students are selling seat cushions for $4 each, and license plate holders for $6 each. A student raises $304 total. X, we're told here, they give us the variables, that's nice. X is the number of seat cushions, and Y is the number of license plate holders. Okay, so write an equation that models the possible combinations of items you can sell. Well, we're told that the total amount for one student was 304. Well, the total is usually the equals part, so equals 304. All right, well, I don't know how many seat cushions I sold, but I sold $4 each. So the seat cushions is represented by X. So I would say $4 per seat cushion times X sold, I don't know how many that is, plus $6 for the license plate holders times Y equals 304. So whatever combination it was of some number of seat cushions and some number of license plate holders, they got to add up to $304 when I multiply them by their prices. So that's my equation, and that's the one that happens to be in standard form. So I can't really solve that unless I'm given some information. And so in part B, if I sold 10 license plate holders, how many seat cushions did you sell? Well, license plate holders was Y. So we would plug in 10 for Y. We'd go 4x plus 6 times 10 equals 304. And now I can solve for x. 4x plus 60 equals 304. 4x equals, subtract 60 from both sides. So what is that? That's 244. And then divide that by 4, we'd get x equals 61. So we sold 61 seat cushions. Okay, so try out these other word problems, and we'll definitely have some time in class to give you some help on those. Thanks.